attending the League of Women Voters of Santa Fe County's Candidate Forum for the contested primary race for County Commissioner, District 1. I am Stephanie Schlanger. I will be the moderator. We do have a Spanish translator available tonight, so please see her over here if you need earphones. For the first time in New Mexico history, legislation was passed allowing independent and DTS voters to participate in primary elections without changing their registration. Information on the semi-open primary legislation is available at the entrance table or at lwvssc.org. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Santa Fe County, I want to express our gratitude to the Santa Fe New Mexican for broadcasting our candidate forums this year as a service to the community. And we're very pleased to have Robin Martin, owner of the Santa Fe New Mexican, here with us tonight. The League has also had the good fortune to work with the Pojoaque Valley Middle School for the use of this fine venue. And we appreciate their interest in providing opportunities for voters to learn about these candidates and for opening the school to us tonight. The League is committed to civil discourse. The candidates have agreed to follow the League protocols for candidate forums, including respecting the time limits for their responses, not engaging in crosstalk, being mutually respectful, courteous, constructive, and orderly, even when they disagree. The questions we ask tonight will be selected by our screening panel to focus on the issues that seem to generate the most interest to the community. Questions that are similar will be consolidated, and questions that are directed to one candidate or contain a personal attack will be eliminated. Due to time constraints, not all questions can be asked, so we invite you to stay after the forum to talk with the candidates. If you haven't already submitted your questions, you can email them to lwvsfc@gmail.com now or at any time during the forum. For those of you who are attending in person, write your questions on the 3x5 note cards that are being distributed somewhere. Good. Submit one question per note card and write legibly. Hold the card up when finished so our runners can pick it up and bring it to the podium. Our timekeeper, Mary Shrubin, is sitting in the front. When a candidate has 15 or 30 seconds left, depending on minutes assigned to the question, she will hold up a yellow warning sign. And when your time is up, she will hold up the red stop sign. And I ask you to respect that as best you can so I don't have to interrupt you.
Thank you.
In the interest of time, please save your applause until the end of the forum. Before I introduce the candidates, let me paraphrase the duties of the County Commissioner. Santa Fe County Commissioners, serving as the Board of County Commissioners, are the elected legislative and policy-making body responsible for governing the county. Their primary duties include adopting ordinances and resolutions to regulate county activities, reviewing and managing the budget, overseeing public services, that's roads, emergency services, waste disposal, and managing land use. We will begin with 2-minute opening statements by the candidates and conclude with 1-minute closing statements. We will hear first from candidate Justin Green and then from candidate Henry Roybal. Mr. Green.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out to Pojoaque, to the middle school here. I want to thank the New Mexican and the League of Women Voters. I go to as many of these town forums for all the different candidates and really appreciate the work that both of these organizations do. Thank you for being here today. My opening statement starts with a little bit of looking back. You know, for decades, I had heard about the failures of our local government. It was sad to hear the frustration and desperation in people's voices. Then, 5 years ago, my family needed help from government. In our case, we needed help from the police. We were frustrated, we were desperate. Our lives were in danger and the police didn't do anything. Our local leaders didn't do anything. We were alone when we needed help. Sadly, we realized we actually weren't alone. There were a lot of people that needed help from government, and it seems the government wasn't working for everyone. If you needed something, help from the police, a road fixed, help with a permit, it didn't matter what it was. It just wasn't happening. So when I needed help, we did it ourselves. But then I realized I could do this for other people, and that was what motivated me to run for county commission. So once we did that, I asked my wife, who's here today, if I had her support to do this, and she graciously gave me the support to do this, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Sandra. But we've heard the fact that people felt ignored, especially in the North, for years. I've heard it for decades, and there was a variety of reasons. Our politicians were not doing their job. So I'm Justin Green, and in my 3 years of being a county commissioner, I've changed this. You can call me and I answer. I listen to you, I listen to the community, I find solutions. Chimayo needed a post office, we got a post office done. 33 families in Espanola needed to secure their affordable housing, I got that done. Tesuque needed to reopen their solid waste plant, and I got that done. All the time I rallied resources. Now I need you to rally behind me to run for my re-election. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Roybal.
Hello, and I do want to also say thank you to the Pojoaque School District for graciously letting us use their facility, and also to all my constituents here tonight. I really appreciate you coming out to support and be here. I think the other part is, you know, we need to thank the League of Women Voters. I've been in this seat before and answered questions, and I think they do a really good job in putting this together. So I want to say thank you for that, and also thank you to our community and to my wife for being supportive all these years. I grew up here in Pojoaque Valley, and I actually attended high school in this very facility. I also have always been involved with all of our community activities. I've coached youth sports for decades, and I also ran a lot of youth programs here in the community where I got to know a lot of our community members. And you know, the thing is, we're a family in these communities, and at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we are here and united. And that's one thing that I've noticed, and that I appreciate the fact that everybody here will call me and ask me different questions, whether it's about the county or BLM or even any kind of other issues, to understand even the water settlement and the road issues. I mean, there's still a lot of things that aren't where they need to be as far as our road easements, and so that's something that I'm here to work on. We got a lot of things complete during that time. We did the recreational ball field, we did the fire station, the Chupadero water system, even with the transfer station in Tesuque. Those negotiations were already in effect prior to me leaving office, and the Pueblo had already decided to reopen that. And so there's also the fire station where we got additional services so we could provide. And I think if that fire station had been opened, we wouldn't have lost the mail, our post office in Chimayo, because they would have been 3 minutes away instead of 20. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with our questions now, and we'll start with Mr. Green. And here is the question. What are the 3 most important things the upcoming county plan should address?
So I think you're discussing the county general plan and the SLDC, the county code update. So this is another case of something that is long overdue, that previous to when I took office, this had been sitting on the back burner and nobody had prioritized it. And so 3 years ago, when I became a county commissioner, I started pushing our county to prioritize this in our in our strategic plan. And now we've started to put it on the schedule to be completed within about 30 months, 2.5 years. So this needs to work on water use, land use, of building missing middle and housing for our workforce and for our next generation families. And it needs to make walkable communities that are the type that we love about Santa Fe, but we just aren't building right now. And so our general plan is out of date, and we need to modernize it in a way that is actually, while modernizing it, is really more back to the traditions of Santa Fe and Santa Fe County and our little communities here.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention that this was a 1-minute question, but you did a great job.
Thank you.
Mr. Roybal.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. What are the 3 most important things the upcoming county plan should address?
So I feel that there's a lot of things, especially the land development code, sustainable land development code. There's issues with that code that have been there for a long time. And when I was a commissioner, I asked for them to do a review and work with our realtors and also our developers in the area to see what areas needed to be fixed. A lot of, in this community, we use, as far as low or affordable housing, families give their kids or their children land, and the children develop those properties into houses and homes for them. And I think at the end of the day, we need to make sure that this land development code is actually easy enough for people to navigate or get additional resources so that we could provide help to constituents that are coming out to get these or to try and get building codes or building permits. I think there's a lot of different things as far as water resources. We need to incentivize having in some of the areas we have a lot of flooding, and if we did a retention ponds that actually percolated back into our aquifer to recharge that, those are issues that we need to look at as well, because a lot of that runoff, if we did that, we would actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone, being that we would help some of these communities that do have.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't see that hers.
I know.
The sign matches her shirt.
Okay. This next question is a 2-minute question, and we're going to start with Mr. Roybal this time. 2 minutes. What is your vision for managing growth in the county in the next 10 years?
So when I was a commissioner, we worked a lot with development as far as doing TDRs when they do the transfer of development rights for a lot of large pieces of land where people know they don't want to develop. And so we look at those, and there was a great program where we did move forward and had the opportunity to work with that. But I think we need to, because a lot of the landowners and ranchers that are there don't realize they can sell their TDRs. So I think we need to do a better job communicating that, because at the end of the day, we have a lot of areas in the urban area that we need to do cluster development and where utilities already exist. So I think that's one thing that we really need to look at as far as the development of and smart building, being smart when we move forward to make sure that we're building in a way that we're not going to deplete the water that we do have. We're already in a situation where we don't have enough water. So I think doing that, developing, having incentives for people to do green gardens and things of that nature so that we can replenish some of our aquifer. Those are all areas that we need to look at. So, I mean, those are things that I think we need to move forward with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roybal. Mr. Green.
Thank you. My background is architecture and development, and so I understand the operations and the financing and the intricacies of development. And currently, we're building the wrong type of housing for our community. This is housing that is either second homes or too large and not affordable for our next generation families and for our workforce. And so I would focus on the revisions on the SLDC and the SGMP to be be focused on smaller homes, what is called missing middle homes, where families can afford this. And we all want to support our kids coming home and our grandkids being able to come home and live nearby us. We need to make sure that we have housing for our police, our teachers, our medical workers, and firefighters. And that is middle-class housing, and that's what the missing middle type of housing is designed for. We need to work on water is a big issue with this, and so methods to reduce the water use through our SLDC revisions and SGMP revisions. There's a variety of methods to do that. We are already starting that, but it's going to take us about 2.5 years, and that is what I'm running for re-election, to work on further detailing this in a way that makes sense and is easy for homeowners and developers to incorporate this into our housing. Lastly, I want to work on making it where the ADU, the casita, is not as penalized. Currently, the ADUs are a great solution where individual homeowners can be part of the solution and having a rental on their property, but our current code kind of penalizes folks for their ADU. So we need to change that to make ADUs easier to build. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. This next question is a 1-minute question, and we're going to start with Mr. Green this time. As a county commissioner, what would be your approach to big developments like solar power and data centers?
So both of these projects have become emergent issues in Santa Fe County and around New Mexico and around the country. As a county commissioner, I've started taking part in these workshops of the National Association of Counties. I've traveled to Washington, D.C. twice and gone to 2 annual conventions where we discuss data centers and large solar developments. In Santa Fe County, last summer, we had the AES project in the Rancho Viejo area. We heard 30 hours of testimony as to whether this was safe and as to whether it was beneficial for the county. And we heard the testimony, 30 hours of testimony, and we came through it and we voted 4-1 to support this. In data centers, we need regulation soon and fast to make sure that we get ahead of this. Data centers use a lot of water, but less and less. They use a lot of energy, more and more. But most importantly, there is an emergent issue with toxic sludge, because when they recycle water, some of the byproducts of that is a toxic issue, and we need to make sure our regulations protect our community with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Roybal.
Thank you. So with solar power, I mean, it's something that I've always pushed for, and when I worked when I was a commissioner at the county, we brought a lot of initiatives forward. We did a lot of charging units for the county buildings, and also we also brought in year 1 to look at our facilities to make sure that they are meeting the criteria and they're very efficient. So solar is very important for us in New Mexico, because we have some of the best environment for solar power. As far as the data centers, I mean, it's something that we have to be very smart with, because there is a lot of issues where we can, there's a lot of contamination, environmental issues. We have to be smart with however we move forward with these data centers, whether we decide to do it or we decide not to, but we have to engage our community and make sure that they're involved, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure we protect them, and we need to make sure that we're doing everything safe, and if it doesn't make sense, then we shouldn't do it.
Thank you, Mr. Roybal. This is a 2-minute question, and Mr. Roybal, we will start with you this time. What would you do to increase affordable housing in the county? And are short-term rentals part of the problem?
I think short-term rentals, especially when you look at predatory buying, people that are, businesses and corporations that are buying a lot of short-term rentals in our community, in our state, it does cause issues. I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that invest in real estate so that they can use it as either an STR or a long-term rental, but I think they have to make the decision on how they want to support, which way they want to use it. But at the same time, if somebody has 2 or 3 STRs or long-term rentals because they want to use that to subsidize their income, and they want to use that to subsidize their retirement, then I think that that's okay, but we really need to put laws in place that do not allow for predatory buying of these properties in New Mexico. And what was the second part of that question?
The second part was the short-term rentals part.
And what was the first part?
The first part was, what are you going to do to increase affordable housing in the county?
I think that our developers should increase the percentage of affordable housing that they do in their development. I think right now the percentage that we have just isn't enough, and we need to incentivize that to our developers so that we can produce more low-income housing. I know there's a lot of apartments going up, but not everybody wants apartments. We need to have more affordable housing. There's so many of our teachers, and sometimes we have 2 people working and they still can't afford it. And then our long-term rentals, the rent is just as expensive as a mortgage, so we have to find a way to help these people so that they can increase their credit and they can actually afford to purchase a house. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Green.
Thank you. So I'm proud to say that Santa Fe County passed a new affordable housing plan that had taken way too many years to get passed. And as soon as I became a commissioner, we prioritized it and we passed it in our first year. That opened up different mechanisms to allow Santa Fe County to support affordable housing projects. And what has that resulted in? That's resulted in over 700 new units coming online in the next year or so that are in line with the needs of Santa Fe County. These are low-income, income-restricted properties that are being built in areas with transportation, with areas with water and sewer resources and infrastructure that make it easy for people to live where they work and near shopping and all of the things that are needed, so they cut down on transportation burden and things like that. Santa Fe County is a leader in affordable housing right now because of what has happened in my first term as county commissioner. Now we need to focus on a segment that is not being addressed, and so that is in the one-bedroom segment. We currently have a list, waiting list of well over 400 people that are waiting for one-bedroom units, whereas the waiting list for people with 3- and 4-bedroom units is in the 20 to 30 unit. There shouldn't be a waiting list anyway, but when you're in the 400 unit space for one bedrooms. So we need to incentivize one-bedroom units here. In terms of STRs, STRs are sort of have become an emergent issue and an emergent lifestyle of the ways that people travel these days. When families come to visit Santa Fe and Santa Fe County, a hotel just doesn't work for multi-generational families. And here in the Pojoaque Valley, I've met folks that have said they are getting into the short-term rental business because they want to preserve the home for their next generation, but their next generation doesn't live here yet, and they still want their family to be able to use the home for the holidays and come here, and the short-term rental is the right balance to allow for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Okay, this next question is a 1-minute question, and we're going to start with you, Mr. Green. What specific plans do you have to address the homeless crisis in the county?
So Santa Fe County has become a partner in a number of homeless solutions and solutions where people are facing the threat of homelessness. So Santa Fe County, under my leadership, helped become the fiscal sponsor for the Interfaith Shelters ROC program and project that is located in the city of Santa Fe, where most of the burden is, but Santa Fe County is in a unique situation where they can support these projects, whether it's anywhere where it's in the city or in the county. We also we're the physical agent for the Pathways Shelter up in Espanola, and we continue to support that organization. And we're working on permanent supportive housing, and in that case, you're working with people that are disabled, have addiction issues, and issues that they are at high risk of becoming homeless, and Santa Fe County is very targeted at that right now and hadn't done that in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal.
Okay, thank you. I think I've seen a lot of movement as far as small homes when I was a commissioner, and some of the areas off of the old Pecos Trail. We also have, my idea is some of the research I've done is some of the states have like a yurt village basically, because part of the component of some of these homeless shelters is having medical available to them, because so many times it's such a high burden for our society, or I guess it's quite a bit of money by the time somebody goes to get treated for an injury that could be treated with just first aid, gets to a point of infection where now it costs thousands and thousands of dollars for us to treat them. So if we have these medical facilities and doctors available in some of these neighborhoods and villages that we can put together in different areas of Santa Fe County, that will really serve well for our homeless population. And also,
Thank you, Mr. Roybal.
oh,
Thank you. Okay, this next question is 2 minutes, and we're going to start this time with Mr. Roybal. How would you overcome jurisdictional issues that come from the 4 government entities pertinent to District 1, 2 counties and 2 pueblos?
so in District 1, we actually have 2 cities, 1 county and 4 pueblos. So I think the biggest thing is trying to work together. You have to visit each one of these entities. And during my time as a commissioner for the first 8 years, I spent time with every single one of these entities. We worked on road settlement agreements that took over 3 years, and we were meeting bi-weekly to figure out how we can fix those issues and come together in agreement. And so, I developed really strong relationships with both the city of Espanola and also with the city of Santa Fe. I worked very closely with a lot of the councilors in both areas and the mayor. I've also met with all the governors in the district and worked closely with them to fix the issues that we have. And I think at the end of the day, if we can collaborate even more with all of the government entities and identify the needs of our community, working together to get grants as far as with federal grants and with county and city all together, we can really do some amazing projects for our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
Thank you. So I started my career working at the city of Santa Fe as a planner, working on the rail yard. So I've got good relationships with the staff and with the elected leaders at the city of Santa Fe. Just this weekend, I was in Espanola meeting with the mayor and the chief of the fire department. I have a really beautiful note that he sent me thanking Santa Fe County and thanking me personally for coming up to make sure that Espanola was in a good shape and that they had everything that they need. Our team at Santa Fe County was up there with 9 units of the fire department on Friday night through the night fighting the fire alongside our brothers and sisters from Espanola, Okeowinge, Santa Clara, the BIA, and the National Guard. It was an amazing, amazing firefighting effort. We actually have 5 pueblos, 4 that we have in their entirety here, and then we have a portion of Santa Clara. I was talking with Santa Clara Pueblo earlier this week. I was talking to Nambe Pueblo. I have a meeting with Nambe and Pojoaque that I've coordinated with the Department of Transportation tomorrow at 11 a.m., where we're talking about transportation issues for the Pojoaque Basin Regional Water System and the construction that's going to be starting on Highway 503. This is a meeting that I organized in an effort to make sure that the Pueblos had a voice in this. The Bureau of Reclamation and the contractors had informed us and said, we may be starting this in 2 weeks, but they hadn't bothered to tell Santa Fe County, and they hadn't bothered to tell Pojoaque and Nambe Pueblo. So I organized this meeting, and we're going to be meeting tomorrow with the Secretary of Transportation. I love working across borders and working in collaboration. We've got an effort at Santa Fe County to work with the city of Santa Fe on a number of issues. We've got a joint resolution, which last year I was a proponent for, and it finally got passed with the new administration at the city, and we're moving that forward in the city. We have much better relations than we did in the past, and that has a lot to do with my attitude on working together. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to stay with you, Mr. Green. This is a 1-minute question. Who or what organizations are funding your campaign?
Organizations. So at this point, they've been individuals. So I don't know that I've taken any money from an organization per se, but I've received an endorsement from the Young Democrats, and some other organizations have said that they're going to be announcing endorsements in the next few weeks, but the Young Democrats didn't supply money for this. I think at this point, I'm funded with friends, family, and supporters that are individual supporters.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal.
So all of the funding that I've received have all been from constituents within the district. We had a fundraiser, and it was very successful. A couple of weeks ago, I think we had about 300 to 350 people in attendance. That was a really big fundraiser, and we did really well. Again, it's all been people from either the district or right outside the district that all came together, and that's where all of my funding has come. I know that you do see out-of-state funding sometimes, but none of my funding has come from out of state. And so I just want to say that, and also say that, I want to thank the constituents, because I wouldn't be where I'm at with the funding if it wasn't for them being so generous. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Roybal. The next few questions are going to focus on water. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Roybal. What methods can the county implement to guarantee an adequate water supply now and in the future? And this is 2 minutes.
Okay, there's a lot of different ways that we can incentivize this by, we have to incentivize doing more rain gardens, infiltration basins. I've seen so much of our community be devastated by floods that if we did these infiltration basins, we would be able to capture that water like we're capturing, the sun from solar, and we would actually benefit our constituents by not having them go through such devastation. Plus, we would recharge our aquifers by doing this. I think we also need to incentivize for our constituents getting better fixtures so that they're higher efficient, and working with even our Buckman direct diversion to make sure they're doing the maintenance necessary so we're not losing water, because there's a lot of lines that lose quite a bit of water over the years, and we need to make sure that we are doing that maintenance, and make sure even with this new utility water line that we're putting in the Pewaukee area that we have a very robust way of doing the maintenance, because at the end of the day, that's a lot of water that we lose. Incentivizing to our constituents, and even doing catch basins, and incentivizing somehow with the legislature to get funding to be able to for individuals to be able to afford to do that, because we need to figure out a way to keep the water in our basin instead of having it go down to the Rio Grande and out of our state. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
Thanks. The water is the most important issue that Santa Fe County is dealing with right now. And I've taken it on to learn as much as I can. I have my water gurus who are both in the freshwater side of the equation and in the wastewater side of the equation. And I learned so much from them, and they are advisors that I can call on all the time. I've been the vice chair. I'm currently the vice chair of the Buckman Direct Diversion, which supplies Santa Fe County with most of its Rio Grande water for the, not for District 1 per se, but is for the area around the community college and for El Dorado. But it's a big project that Santa Fe County is a partner in, and I've learned a lot about that and been very active in the $79 million rebuild of that project, where there were defects, and we've won a settlement to get $79 million to rebuild it, right? And I was chair of that organization last year and very active in that as well. I'm also very, very active in the Pewaukee Basin Regional Water Systems planning. There is a Northern Tributaries 5-partner or 4-partner meeting where periodically, or for part of the meeting, Santa Fe County is invited. I have attended a bunch of those meetings, almost all of them in my 3 years of being on the board. I asked to be invited, and they said, wow, this is so nice. We've never had the attention of a county commissioner before. Why don't you join us? And so this has been wonderful to be a part of that. All 4 pueblos and Santa Fe County sit around a table and we plan out the Pojoaque Basin Regional Water System. Then in terms of making sure that we have enough water for the future, Santa Fe is a partner. Santa Fe County has been become a partner of the return flow pipeline from the Paseo Real wastewater treatment plant, where we will get more water in our Buckman direct diversion assets, and we can work on leveraging that will supply us with 3 times more water than we take from that. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to stay with you, Mr. Green. This is a question asking you to talk about acequias. Very important to us here in northern New Mexico. What are the challenges to our acequias, and what are the needs?
So I like to tell my first night when I came to visit my mother about 37 years ago when I first moved to Santa Fe. My first night was on the Acequia Madre in Santa Fe, and I drove in the middle of the night, and I woke up in the morning, and the sound of the acequia was outside my window, and I had never been here, and I didn't know that the acequias weren't everywhere, and it was so wonderful. It was one of the best sounds you could have. So living near an acequia is near and dear to me, and I used to work for a friend of mine, opening her acequia and filling her tanks every week in Santa Fe. Our acequias are our lifeblood for agriculture. We need to make sure that we have protective programs. For Santa Fe County, I've been working on trying to create an office of acequias so that all of our acequias have someone that they can turn to say, hey, we need to borrow a backhoe for a day to take out a root, to clean out a culvert, to do this. We used to do this in Santa Fe, but they stopped doing it just a few years ago. We need to get back into the business of helping our acequias. We can also help with grant writing, and we can also help with collaborating across acequias. The Pojoaque region is a great regional. They've got a regional acequia association, which is pretty amazing that they all work together. They're not just individual acequias on their own, but they work together. Santa Fe County can have that office that can help leverage public works and other things to make sure that our acequias are healthy.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal. This is 2 minutes, by the way.
That was I'm sorry.
Okay, so acequias are very important to our communities here. We actually, I was raised here, and all I did was, as a child growing up, I remember sitting in the garden, and me and my cousins, and eating some of the vegetables and stuff that weren't quite ripe yet, and we thought, they couldn't see us, but my grandpa would turn on the water and let us know he was there. So I think the biggest thing is the value of that has been ingrained in me. It's not something that I learned, it's something that I lived and that I grew up with, and something that I will always cherish, and it's something that I always advocate for. When I was a commissioner, we used to help with in-kind donations to the acequias because they are a quasi-governmental entity. And as a quasi-governmental entity, we are allowed to assist in-kind with the acequias, and that's what we did. I've had so many of our acequias in the community call me upset that they're not getting that help anymore, and I guess the comment that was made is that they didn't want to get, or Commissioner Green told them, I don't want to get into doing any kind of donation that it would be considered anti-donation. And that's what, I haven't seen it, but that's what constituents have told me. And so one thing I will say is they said that, that's fallen off. And so that's something that we really need to make sure that we bring back, because these acequias depend on that. The people in this area depend on those acequias working. So thank you.
Am I allowed to respond to when somebody attributes something to something that I said that isn't true?
Yes.
I never said that. As I mentioned, I've been very active in trying to build a program with a budget and staffing to support the acequias. The issue has been that Santa Fe County has said that they are understaffed and that they couldn't actually do this. So I've been active in producing a budget that would support our acequias. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is a good time to remind us that we need to keep our remarks impersonal. Thank you. The next question is 2 minutes, and we will start with, what did I end up with, Mr. Roybal?
Yeah.
Yes. 2 minutes. What county services need to be improved, and how will you make these improvements happen?
So I get calls a lot of times, and people are asking, where can we find assistance with behavioral health issues and with paying utility bills. And so the county, when I was a commissioner, started a program where they would help you navigate to find these services. But there's still a lot of people that don't know about these services, and so we need to take the time and figure out a way that we communicate these to our constituents so that we have more that understand and don't have to try and figure out a way to find it. Sometimes they go months, years, and somebody that needs behavioral health care can't find it. Sometimes it gets too late for them to find that, and families are in need. We need to figure out a way to maybe get out to the churches and get out to all the community services that already exist, including senior centers, because a lot of our senior citizens and grandparents and grandmas are actually raising their grandchildren. And so you look at our DeVargas Funeral Home or any of the other ones, so many young people that have passed away, and it is something that we have to provide services for opioid addiction and also for behavioral health services. So I think that's something that we really need to try and focus on more. So that's one thing that I think we need to work on. And what was the other part of that question?
How will you make these things happen? How will you make these things happen?
So I think the biggest thing is we need to just get out there, like I've already said, and make sure that we are working, to get the message out. I mean, now that we have this road issue going on in the El Rancho community, we went the extra effort to finally hand out cards to every single household. I mean, that's something that I think can be accomplished from the county, so that we make sure we notify all our constituents.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Henry for bringing up something that actually I helped set up, which was communicating on a daily basis with a website and postcards to the folks in the El Rancho area. Everyone who's in the basin here, when we start doing construction work in your area, we will knock on your door 30 days before. We will send you postcards. We will send you emails. We're working on a better communication system with Santa Fe County. Partially because that was something that I thought was very important, and specifically because I thought that was very important for the Pojoaque Basin and this water project here. But other things that Santa Fe County can do and is doing is that we just invested $7 million on a new behavioral health facility for youth. This is an issue for so many of our youth in Santa Fe County, and we created a regional project that will reach as far up as Colfax County and Taos County, and our youth of the region will be able to come down to Santa Fe, and this behavioral health facility will have 8 service providers within this single one-stop shop for everybody to come in, from bereavement to crisis management to drug treatment to all of the different services that kids need to make sure that they stay healthy and can get back on their feet. This is an amazing project of Santa Fe County, and I'm very excited that we're going to be opening that in the next few months. Santa Fe County also has the Connect system, which is an amazing program and project that brings in all sorts of services into one space, where if somebody comes into the Connect system, they get cross-referenced and referred to other service centers. It is said that if somebody comes in for food service, they're missing 80% of the services available to them. So once they come into the Connect system, we refer them to other things, whether it's youth or senior help, medical health, housing help, you name it. We bring people in, and they come in for one thing, and they find out about all the different services that are available to them through the Connect system. Thanks.
Thank you. I will stay with you, Mr. Green, and you've addressed some of this already in the previous question. This is a 2-minute question. How would you increase access to quality health care in the county?
So I'm proud that Santa Fe County is a big supporter of La Familia Medical Center. We have multiple centers that Santa Fe County has been a fiscal agent for and has helped them with capital work. We've done that over the last few years, and just as recently as a couple meetings ago, it wasn't this last meeting, it was the meeting before, we had La Familia coming to us and asking for assistance on their facility over in the Agua Fria Traditional Village. That facility provides a suite of healthcare services here. It's everything. I know people that work there, I know people that get treatment over there, and they are always very impressed with the services there. They deal with reproductive health, they deal with LGBTQ, and we need to make sure that our services are for everybody in Santa Fe County. And so we should not have any discrimination, and La Familia is the program that does that the best. Up in Espanola, we've been partners with some other projects up there, and then in southern Santa Fe County, I think we have some affiliates that we work with down there. But the shining example is La Familia.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal.
Can you repeat that question?
Yes. How would you increase access to quality health care in the county?
So I would agree that La Familia does a phenomenal job, but we need to invest in other organizations like La Familia to make sure that we have enough services for our constituents. I know that I worked very closely with the Pathways Shelter with Ralph Martinez. We made sure that we had an area. We purchased an old hotel in Espanola that we transformed into a transitional living for folks. And so those are services that we need to make sure and provide. And as far as healthcare, like I said, expanding La Familia and looking and working with them to get them additional funding so that we can expand those services is something that we need to work on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll stay with you, Mr. Roybal. This is a question about high-speed internet. Is it adequate or not here in the county, and what would you do to support access to high-speed internet?
So in the county, especially in this district, in the northern Santa Fe County, it absolutely is inadequate in the majority of the area here. We don't even have very good cell service in most of this area. It's something that when I left, we did one project that actually did provide a lot of high-speed internet, and it was a project in collaboration with the schools. I also got some grant funding for State Road 76 that would come from Espanola and go all the way up to Chimayo. Those are things that, we really need to work on that infrastructure. We're not where we need to be. We have to invest more in that. We have to work with our communities, because at the end of the day, I know what our communities need, and I know in working with them that we just haven't gotten the service that we need or the internet. We do have a partnership with one of the internet. They're not a provider, but they're actually the one that builds out the services. So we need to work closer with them to make sure we provide that. On 76, there is resources that we need to move poles that need to go a little bit higher. They need to move those lines so that we can actually provide service. And that's something that is still not getting done. So it's something that we need to work with that service to get it done, but absolutely not. We don't have the service we need in northern Santa Fe County.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
Thanks. I've been working on broadband issues in the Santa Fe area since the dot-com days in 1999 and 2000, when we were just happy to get a T1 line, which would be the equivalent of a DSL line these days. And so I've been in this space for many, many years. I serve right now as the chair of the ReadyNet Board, which is a regional broadband partnership between Santa Fe County, the city of Espanola, Rio Arriba County, Los Alamos County, and 4 tribes, Okayawinge, Santa Clara, Tesuque, and Pojoaque. We are, and then to a lesser extent, Nambe is a partner now too. We are working on managing this, and we helped build the 76 corridor line that goes to Chimayo. We just lit up a new cell tower in Chimayo. It happens to be on the Rio Arriba side of the line, but it serves the Chimayo and Santa Fe County Valley over there. Additionally, I've been very, very active over the last probably 6 to 8 months with a proposal to leverage federal funding of to the order of $29 million for fiber and wireless in our entire county. It's not just for District 1, but it's for the entire county. This will include about 121 miles of new fiber and will include 16 new cell towers. And the cell towers will not only help with our cell coverage, but will help with our E911 radio systems for our fire, emergency services, and our sheriff's office. I am intimately in the middle of this issue and advocating for Santa Fe County to work with the partners. We meet with the Office of Broadband Access and Expansion at the state office. We work with a provider that both builds this and does the service here. I'm about as up to speed on this as anybody in Santa Fe County right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, staying with you, Mr. Green. This is a 2-minute question. How would you build a relationship with Los Alamos National Labs for future projects or others to support the entire Pojoaque Valley?
So Los Alamos and National Labs in Los Alamos County really take a little bit of the excess money that they could spread around for our regional community here. And we should be working with the legislature, Los Alamos County, and the lab to find projects that they value in our area. Those can be lifestyle projects. They invested in a park up in Espanola that happens to be in Santa Fe County, and we need to get them to invest in more of those in our region here. They could help us with broadband because ReadyNet and Santa Fe County's broadband is going to be built out to service Los Alamos County, and they could throw us a bone and help us invest in broadband for our area off the hill here as well. Additionally, there's power and energy upgrades that can be done in this area that Los Alamos County runs their own utility. They could help us with some utility upgrades in this area as well. Their tax receipts that they get up there should definitely be spread amongst areas here. And lastly, I've been an advocate for a concept that I call 1% for housing, which would be asking the federal government and to create a program where 1% of all lab budgets, not only Los Alamos, but it would be Sandia, it would be Lawrence Livermore, it would be all of the labs, 1% of their budget would be given to regional housing solutions so that we could address our housing. Because right now, while we love the lab on certain levels, they add so much of a cost burden to us because they inflate rents and inflate prices here, and so we need them to be part of the solution, less part of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal.
So with, was your question asking about Los Alamos Laboratory and the county?
How would you build a relationship with Los Alamos National Lab for future projects?
Okay, so not the county.
Or others to support the entire Pojoaque Valley?
Okay. So when I was a commissioner, I met with, towards the end of my term with Los Alamos National Laboratory and some of their facility directors because they wanted to see about doing some, I guess, RV parks in Santa Fe County. And they wanted, because they're going to have specialized craft that are coming in and out for some of their projects. And so they did want a partnership with Santa Fe County, but that was towards the end of my term, and I'm not sure exactly what happened with that, but we did look at that to try and bring some of that revenue to Santa Fe County. The other thing is they did want to exchange some of the land in Los Alamos County and with Santa Fe County and either trade us other land or look at the San Juan Chama water rights, which I thought was a really good thought moving forward, but that still hasn't come forward either. So I think those are some partnerships. I know that the GRT is quite a bit that Los Alamos County gets, and some of the areas around are bedroom communities, are considered bedroom communities, and we provide all the services to these constituents that live in here, because the majority of the workforce for Los Alamos National Laboratory actually comes from off of the hill. So, you know, in a study that I looked at one point, I brought forward as a commissioner when I was the chair of the Regional Coalition of Latino Communities, showed how it was detrimental to our communities. And there was a bill brought forward for a study. And I think, you know, that's something that, you know, that maybe they should look at how they can partner with our communities a little bit more to help with services and resources. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to stay with you, Mr. Roybal. And this question is, what are the expected noise levels from the Amont building?
I don't think that at this point that any of that's really been disclosed, and that's some of the frustration with our communities is we've asked questions like, what kind of treatment are they going to use? What kind of chlorine? What kind of, you know, different chemicals that are going to be used, and how are they going to make sure that they don't get into our aquifer or contaminate anybody else's wells in the area? So those are questions that, you know, some of them that people are really frustrated with. I don't know what the noise level is because nobody's disclosed that yet, but it's very concerning because the location where it's at, I mean, there's so many residents downhill from the location, so it's something that they need to make sure that we communicate to our constituents and let them know that we're looking out for their best interests and that we are going to keep them safe. And I don't think that has been really communicated to our constituents in the area, so that's something that we really need to work on.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
Thank you. So most of the treatment facility, I think, is all inside of a building, and once that building turns on, it is my understanding for the first for most of the years that it'll be operating not 24/7, and so it will be on for certain hours, and the pumps and stuff will be able to be turned off at night so that noise levels will be able to be controlled in there. That's a conversation for the BOR, and additionally just to make sure that that it doesn't interfere with the community that is adjacent to the treatment facility. There are some pumps that are going to be around the county, and those will also have to be managed in a way that doesn't interfere with the neighbors around it. And we're going to have to turn it on, see what it's like, and take mitigation solutions to the building that surrounds it, so that we can, if there's anything that really affects people, that we take care of that as fast as possible, and so people aren't as affected by that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to stay with you. Quick question, 1 minute. Can we get garbage collection here, similar to Rio Arriba?
So, so Rio Arriba's trash collection is not sustainable, and they've had problems with that already. Trash costs about 10 times more than it collects in terms of revenues here. So that is definitely, you know, while we would all love it, it is not financially feasible. We can look into it, but it is difficult. We had a report from our solid waste division, and that even with the current system, we only take in 1/10 of the income that would be needed just to run the system without pickup. But in my time as a county commissioner, I helped reopen the Tsuki transfer station. Those negotiations were not started before I took office. In fact, they were left, you know, relations with that pueblo were in terrible shape when I took office, and I helped restore those. But the good news is that we're building about less than a half a mile from here, right across 502. Santa Fe County is building a $3 million transfer station that will be a modern transfer station for everyone in the Pojoaque Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal.
So in regards to the modern transfer station, that was at the end of my term that we were already talking about, and already had a design for that, and 4 years later we still don't have it. I know that we do have we do have a lot of expenses when it comes to trash pickup, but what I don't understand is if the community has asked that, why don't we do studies to see what it will cost and see if the community agrees that this is a price they would be willing to pay. And I know sometimes they say, well, we're going to subsidize, we're subsidizing the amount that our constituents are paying as far as their punch cards, but I've always said, well, we're subsidizing it how? With their tax dollars? So it doesn't really make sense. We need to figure out how to think outside the box and make sure that we address these issues. I mean, just because, I mean, if they're still asking the question, then I guess it hasn't been communicated to our constituents. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll stay with you, Mr. Roybal. This is a 2-minute